and the hands on the neck and all that. And I think the fight week build up will be amazing. What did I think of the egg? It's not right to put your hands on another fighter in that situation by the rules. And of course, the British board were always going to fine Chris, but I thought it was funny. I thought it was hysterical. I mean, Eddie at the beginning said he thought it was a glass. Obviously, if it had been anything harder than an egg, you couldn't have done it. But I think Chris knows what he's doing. He plotted it for a long time since that was the reason or the excuse that was used, the contaminated eggs. It was always going to be in his back of his brain, in his thought process, to do something like that, I think. And while it was a shock to everybody, it goes viral. So it just accelerated the promotion. It just made it, I don't know, Tottenham is an incredible stadium, and I think they've got 65, 70,000 going. It made it a double sellout or whatever. It certainly brought much more attention. As you say, your mates are talking about it. People that I know don't really even like boxing are talking about it. So everyone's going to be tuned in, and that's what we need. And I'm all for it. I love hardcore trade boxing. Mm-hmm. You know, I worked with GBM. We had a great show at York Hall on Friday night. Really good fights, good prospects. You know, the way they did it. Then you got to the Warren show on Saturday, and it's a slightly higher level, and it's a bit more important, and there's more fans there. But fundamentally, that's hardcore trade boxing, normal boxing. Okay. Then you've got Misfits. My friend Will A's going into Misfits, KSI. They're making money. They're entertaining. I took my eldest daughter to KSI and Tommy Fury because she loves Tommy Fury. She fancies him. She wanted to see him. There's 20,000 people at the Manchester Arena. It was an amazing night. Was it great boxing? It was okay. So long as they're matched well. And when KSI and Logan Paul fought, everyone at Sky were like, oh my God, are we doing this? And Eddie was going to promote it, and we did it on pay-per-view for a different price and a different audience. And I was slightly skeptical, I'll be honest, at first. But then when I met KSI and I met Logan Paul, I fall in love with fighters. I just love them. Logan Paul, chatting to him in LA and his mad house and incredible sort of surroundings was just fantastic. He's a very bright young man. He's worked really hard to get to where he is. He's not a natural boxer, but he was an athlete at school. He's been a YouTuber for a long time. He's put night and day into getting to, for a long time, no one knew who he was. And suddenly he gets to a level and then he goes viral and blah, blah, blah. Good luck to him. He's been brilliant. And he's one of the best interviewees I've ever had. I've loved it. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather was a circus of a fight. Floyd was always going to win, but Conor brought entertainment and panache and charisma and all of that to it. And again, I would say on one hand, Prince Nassim Hamad, Logan Paul, Conor McGregor, these are the characters that I've walked away from interviews with going, wow, they are just box office. They are must-see television. And so there is a place for misfits. There is a place for a casual fight like a Eubank Benn. There is a place for that, just like there is a place for Beterbiev and Bivol. And of course, it's sad that not many people walking the streets know who those guys are, because they're the cream, they're the best. And it's phenomenal watching them, and we all appreciate it. And His Excellency has made these fights happen, which is fantastic. And he's got Frank and Eddie working together, and now they're under the same umbrella on DAZN. And what a time for boxing. But I think you've got to sit back and say, yeah, there is room for a casual fight like Eubank Bang and a bit of egg smashing. There is room for a misfits where, the KSI's fighting whoever, and Will A's going in to fight Jordan Banjo and all that. And people, it's different. My three kids watch entertainment. They might not want to watch Philip Hergovich against Joe Joyce. That's for boxing fans. Yeah. But if they're watching our sport in whatever way it is, then eyeballs are coming in. So I'm all for it. Did I like Mike Tyson against Jake Paul? No, I didn't. I didn't like it particularly. I thought it was sad that Mike Tyson, who I grew up loving and admiring, and we all did, the magnetism of Mike, at 58 to come out where his legs aren't there anymore and he's trained hard for it. Yeah, if he needs the money, great. And it was a nice exhibition. And we got away with it. And everyone was healthy and happy at the end of it. But we all knew Jake would win on points. Should Mike have been there? I don't know. But it was done. For me, what was important was that Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano had 70 74 million, I think it was, average Netflix viewers. And for that was brilliant. Female boxing has become phenomenal. I love the ascent of that. And to see Katie and Amanda, who are dancing again in July at the Garden, I just think it's wonderful that they had that sort of exposure. So, yeah, really good fights on a sort of mad night is okay with me. And so long as fighters, Sean, are being match right, that's crucial, whether it's at area level, whether it's at European, at world, whether it's in the elite class, or whether it is misfits. So long as they're matched okay, and it's not, and that goes down to charity events and white collar. So long as you've got the same weight and the same sort of background, or no one's going to get badly hurt, or it's going to be a horror show, that's what we don't want in boxing. We want... And I think that's what we've done on GBM, trying to get them to 55-45 fights and or 60-40, not 95-5 or something like that. That's just not, it doesn't suit anybody. And yes, okay, prospects are going to fight journeymen and you know they're going to win, but the journeymen know how to survive. They're proper fighters. They know, they've learnt the art of survival or defense in there. So that's okay. But yeah, the matchmaking is crucial in boxing. It's the biggest job and biggest responsibility of all. So I'm all for the different things. I think Eubank Benn is going to be huge. I cannot wait for fight week. It's right up my street as a storyteller.
What's the prediction?
What's the prediction? I think Chris has definitely won the build-up. Conor Benn can win this fight, but will he? I'm not sure. I think Tony Sims has got a massive job keeping Conor controlled because he's going to be highly emotional. I think he's going to fly at Chris. I think he wants it more than Chris. I think he's so desperate for this. Could something happen like his dad, Nigel, when Nigel was knocking everyone out and he came into that Finsbury Park tent not far from here, and he came up against Michael Watson, and Michael just sucked it up and stopped him. And a lot of wise people within the trade are telling me Conor wins rounds, but then Chris wins the night by just staying out of trouble and picking him off. And maybe his heart rules his head a bit, Conor. However, I think Conor at the weight will be better than he was a couple of years ago because I think he's grown naturally. He's not the bigger guy, obviously, but Chris has got to come down again. So how's that going to play out? I think it's a pick'em. I think you've got to go with Chris on not just the size, but the level he's fought at. But that Liam Smith first fight is a worry. And, Conor Benn could do that to him. So I don't know is the answer. I'll let you know on the Friday night before the fight. But I tend to go with what I think at the beginning, which is I've got a slight leaning towards Chris in the fight. However, that could change. I'm a commentator. I'll never make an outright prediction. I don't think that's fair on the fighters. So I think both of them have a real chance in this fight. I think it's so important who is the winner on the Sunday morning, the bragging rights, the Eubank Benn name. I think it means more to the Benns. You see Nigel there, and I hope Chris Senior comes in. I hope he rides in on a motorbike on the week and adds some real flavour to it, because it would be great to see the four of them together as fathers and sons. I think that's the sort of slight missing part of it, but that's not up to us. That's down to Junior and Senior. I know they're talking now, which is great. And after what's happened to the family, you'd love them just to be together for this. It is. People will say it's a circus. People will say it's a high rolling entertainment. But you know what it is? It is a fight at the end of the day, and it is two guys that need this win. They need this win for the family name. They need it for their own careers, and they're going to fight tooth and nail to get that. It's going to be fascinating, and I really can't pick an outright. I won't pick it, but I can't pick it, if you see what I mean. And talking to people around on the trains and around the shops and everything, and people stop and they go, "Oh, that Ben's going to knock out Eubank," or that Eubank's going to whatever. I think talking to people out there, I've talked to hundreds in the last few weeks. I would say it's pretty split, but I would think more are probably going for Eubank, which is, I guess, the right way to look at it at the moment. But either of them could win.
Definitely on paper, when you look at it, he's been up with, a higher opposition and been professional for sort of longer as well. I just do feel that, Eubank is really playing a chess match, and suppose I've got another question here for you. How much is the pre-fight before the fight? Because it feels like Eubank is really just winding Conor up as much as possible, so he exerts all of his sort of frustration out. I don't know if you watched the Piers Morgan interview, and Conor Benn actually was, you say he talks from the heart. He was like, I actually do wish you and your dad get along, because that was very sad. And Eubank didn't want anything to do with it. He just wanted it back into a rough fight.
I mean, Chris is just trying to control the whole narrative. Conor is a great guy. Chris is a great guy. I like them both. They're both very different. A little bit reminds me slightly of Carl Froch and George Groves, two totally different personalities.